Good morning, friends. Welcome to my channel. My name is Diamond Monet. If you've been on the channel, hey friend, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new to the channel, hello friend. It's so good and nice to meet you. Again, my name is Diamond Monet, and I'm so glad that you're here this morning because I have so much to share. So this morning, we're up, let's see, what's the time? 6 o'clock. On the dot, 6 o'clock. That's pretty good, I have to say. It's not perfect because we were supposed to be waking up at like 5. I extended it to 5:30, but essentially 5. But hey, you know, we're getting a fresh start here. So I'm not sure if I shared this with you guys like yesterday or the day before, but recently I have really been struggling with the idea of being a content creator. Now, I do create content and I do like making content and new stuff and it does get hard to not want to do what's trending and what's in and what's cool according to the world. It does get hard, and if you sympathize with that, then I know what you're going through. But God has called us as his children. We serve the creator. Our dad is the creator, and so out of that we should be able to make our own content. We are the children of the trendsetter, not the trend follower. So our life should live in accordance with that exact spiritual principle. And I was talking to the Lord about my social media, and of course, because I want my YouTube to grow, my YouTube channel to grow. I want, you know, this is just being really honest. I do want my Instagram to grow. I do want my TikTok to continue to grow. I do want my sphere of influence to continue to grow. But the Lord was just kind of sitting with me, and I've been asking myself, like, but why do you want it? It was like, well, to spread his word, but it's also like, it was a struggle before to not want it for the fame. It was a struggle before to not want it for the popularity and the ease of the, you know, what it looked like to be the ease of content creation and brand deals and living off of that money and being able to use the money for my dream of adopting the children that God has called me to be a mommy to. And God has just been heart checking me on that. And so he told me this today: increased influence coincides with spiritual maturity and responsibility. So that means that our influence, our sphere of influence, the people that God allows us to influence, whether digital, whether in person, will increase as we are becoming more spiritually responsible, more spiritually mature, as we're growing, as we're getting to know God, as we're stepping into everything and every part of the daughters and sons that he's created us to be. And that just kind of hit because the world tells you, okay, on TikTok you post 3 to 5 times a day, you have this 10:30, 2:30, and 5, and you post every day and it'll just pick up. And there are people that don't even know God or have resisted God for now, who are growing and have millions of followers on TikTok. But that's not how God has called me or you, if that's something that you're pursuing, to do it. That's not it at all. Our goal is to focus on the Father, and that's it. And he will lead us and guide us into the things that he wants us to be able to be monetized from. And he will lead us and guide us to, if you want a job, to the right job. And he'll lead us and guide us into wherever we need to go. It's not our job to focus on what we need to do. God will tell us what we need to do. We need to focus on our heart posture so that we'll be able to know how to do it best and well. Like, for instance, we're talking about social media. There are unbelievers who have millions of subscribers and followers. There are believers that have millions of subscribers and followers. How they both went about and got to those millions of subscribers and followers, I don't know. But I promise you that there were at least two different ways to get there. Because one person believed, one person not. This message gets to somebody and this resonates with you. Just know you can't do it like everybody else, because you're not like everybody else. You're set apart. And when you're set apart, there is a different standard that is there for those of us who are children of the King. There's just a different standard. And it's most definitely not lower than the worldly standard, and it's not at the worldly standard, and it's not just a little bit of the worldly standard. It supersedes every standard because it's God's standard. It is the highest standard. It is the highest call. And so out of respect for God, out of respect for his word, out of love for him, out of care for him, out of a relationship with him. See, that's the whole point. When we develop and work towards having a more intimate relationship with God, we are less willing. And we eventually get to the point where we say no to things that could draw us away from him. Because we are so in love with him and in love with his word and in love with his grace and his kindness and every part of who he is. And the more you get to know him, the easier it is to resist. And the more you get to know him and are in his face, the easier it is to resist the lies and doubts and thoughts of the enemy. And yeah, there are seasons when sometimes we drift a little bit, and God always has his arms open to welcome us back home into his loving arms and eventually into heaven when we have finished our mission here on earth and transition. But increased influence coincides with spiritual responsibility. So I was trying to get increased influence by doing it the world's way, by doing all the trending TikToks and doing all the popular things, or even posting something that I was led to post, but on the bottom putting and I don't necessarily think this part is wrong, but it's still that my heart posture was still a crave for fame. So I would post a video that God wanted me to post, that God led me to post. He gave me the entire message. I would post it on TikTok, but the music that I would put under the bottom would possibly be, I try to avoid explicit songs because that's just a real no, but it would be the trending song. So it would have the trending song with no volume, but then hoping that would increase my influence. And to be honest, I'm getting convicted now in this moment. Influence is so much bigger than social media. Social media is one way that people have influence and can speak to people all over the world from just where they are, where they live, or where they're staying at, or whatever. But influence, real, true influence, influence that's lasted the course of time, I feel like some of the people that influence us the most outside of God are people that wrote it down. People that wrote down their thoughts, wrote down their thought process, wrote down their heart towards God, wrote down what they've learned. And those books and those writings have passed down, and then we read it and we learn from it, we grow from it, or we see, maybe where they went wrong, how we can do better. Just influence is so much bigger than that. Influence is bigger than us. Influence is knowing who your creator is, and then out of your love for and relationship with your creator, allowing that to just spew into every part of your life. It's not something that should be monitored or put at a specific time or a specific range. Yeah, there's such thing as content strategy, and I think content strategy is great, and I'm still working on mastering it. But at the end of the day, maybe it shouldn't be the goal, because content strategy has a specific schedule of things. If God leads me to only post one video on a Tuesday, but content strategy says to post 4, who do I listen to? Definitely God. So even though it can get hard, or, whatever season you may be going through, it's always better to listen to God. And always remember that increased influence coincides with spiritual responsibility. The more you get in his face, the more you seek his face, the more you get to know him, your influence, the influence that he provides you with in order to continue to spread his word, it's not for you. Your influence, that's another thing. The influence that God gives us as children of God, it's not for us to gloat or be famous or become the GOAT of a certain activity. That's not it at all. God gives us influence so that we can continue to talk about him, to spread the gospel, to be about kingdom business. Kingdom influence is the most important kind of influence that you can have, because your influence, God can lead you to literally change someone's eternal destination. And that's so incredible. And having likes, comments, shares, reposts, all that stuff, it's great, especially on YouTube. But at the end of the day, God sees my heart. God sees why I'm doing what I'm doing. God sees that I'm in this moment with you, sharing with you honestly and vulnerably about what I've been going through, and how the quest for fame has been sickening and tiring and exhausting and just not good for me. And it's not what I've been created for, and that's why it's exhausting. And so yeah, I just wanted to remind you guys, increased influence coincides with spiritual responsibility. And so the more we get to seek God's face, the more we get in his face, the more we seek his face and desire to be in his presence, that is when we get to the point where we'll just look around one day and realize, oh wow, look at all that God has done. Glory to God. We'll just realize that it's increased. It's not something that we're seeking, because God sees our heart. So even if we're seeking God and I've done this before too, if we're seeking God for the purpose of just gaining influence, God sees that. So we can't hide anything from God. So fix your heart posture towards God. Then come before his throne and say, you know what, Lord, I lay wanting influence. I lay wanting fame. I lay wanting popularity or increased followers or increased subscribers before you, Lord God. You see my heart. And you know that the reason why I want what I want. And you also see the things that I'm intended to have, the things that you have placed, the people that I need to meet, the people that are part of my purpose. So when we come to God's heart and we come before him and we lay our heart down and we ask him to change our heart, and God can change our heart and God can help us. At the end of the day, it's up to you. You have to choose this day who you will serve. God can't choose it for you. He's not going to make you choose it. Rather, he could, but he's not going to make you. That is something that he's given us, because I don't know if you realize, but like, even anyone who wants a friendship or relationship with people, you want those individuals to love you for who you are, like wholeheartedly. If someone loves you only because you told them love me, and then they say, tell me you love me, and they say I love you, that's not real. That's you telling them that. So it's basically you're running the whole thing. It's not, no part of their genuine emotions or feelings are a part of that. Same thing if someone wrongs you in some way and someone has to tell them to come and say sorry to you. I'm sorry for anyone who's ever believed that was a real apology. This is something that I've been very strict on for a while. If someone has to tell somebody to come and say sorry, that person is not sorry. I'm not saying that person will never be sorry, but that person is not sorry in that moment. And they're only saying sorry because they want to be right in the eyes of others, if anyone's around, right in the eyes of the individual that asked them to do so, or they just want to get it over with. They're really not sorry. They're not sympathetic. They don't really care. But that doesn't change the fact that it's not genuine. So when it comes to us and our love and our heart for God, God sees our heart, and we can't hide our heart from him. God sees where we are. God sees the stuff we've been through, and he gives grace and mercy for everything that we've been through. I mean, I should have been dead by now. Seriously, I said that on day 1. I might have said it on day 2, and I'm saying it on day 3. I'm so very serious. But please know and understand that we should not be seeking increased influence or popularity or fame. We should be seeking after the heart of the Father, and it should be out of a genuine love for him and a genuine want to tell people about him and share the love that he's given to us as his children. It's so much bigger than us. And so for us to focus on influence is such a minuscule thing compared to the big gravity and responsibility that we have as God's children to tell people about our dad, to tell people about God, to tell people that there is a Redeemer, that they do have hope, to tell people that life is bigger than us. Every single person that you will ever meet, God has a purpose and plan for them. God uniquely created them, designed every single part of who they are, originally who they were. People go through seasons where they try to change themselves to be like this person or to look like this person because they think that's what's trending, that's what's popular, that's what will allow them to fit in. But as the sign says, and this keeps coming up, why fit in? Can you see that? Why fit in when you were born to stand out? You're set apart. You're born to stand out. There is no one else in the world exactly like you. And God created you that way. We were created in the image and likeness of God. God's one of a kind. And so out of that one of a kindness, guess what? He made you one of a kind. There is absolutely no one. I don't care if they got plastic surgery. I don't care if they got every single possession that you've ever owned. There is no one that can ever be like you. When you are walking in your kingdom calling and your kingdom purpose, just no one can. Your spirit was uniquely designed and crafted by God. And so it's our job and it's our responsibility. You have to make the choice to wholeheartedly want to serve Jesus because you wholeheartedly love him. Not because someone told you you should love Jesus, but because you love him from the bottom of your heart. Remember, you can't hide anything from God. So it's very important that we recognize that our heart is seen by God at all times. So it's not about increased influence. It's about a love, a deep, deep, deep desire to want to serve and honor God. And so that's going to be it for today. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down below if any part of this video resonated with you, or you just want to talk more about a certain topic on another day. We can totally talk about it. I'm definitely going to start doing some lives, so I will let you know about that, but make sure you also go and follow my other socials so you know, on TikTok and on Instagram. I'll also put it on the community tab too, when God leads me to go live. I'll put it there before so that you guys can know. But yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.